Hello and welcome to another episode. I'm Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is High Octane. As always, with the horrible sound effects. Someday, not anytime soon, I will get sound effects so that's more fun. But here we are, the next episode of High Octane, and today's commander we're going to look at is Toxrill the Corrosive. It's a 7-drop, 5 mana plus 2 black, so it's 7. And at the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 black slug creature token. And you can pay a blue and a black, sacrifice a slug, draw a card. This is a really tricky deck, I feel, to play because it is a 7-drop. 7 mana is a lot to play a commander because he is so dangerous, especially against like a token deck or anything, or even normal decks. You have to not only get 7 mana, but you have to get 7 mana plus mana for counter spells or protection of some kind, because as soon as you play it, someone's going to destroy it. I've had that happen multiple times. Very rarely has I think maybe twice have I had Toxrill win a game. I believe he may have won one of the Unskilled Commander episodes that you can watch, and maybe 1 or 2 against actual friends. But let's see just how fast Toxrill can win the game, not just get on the field, but how fast can he actually win the game and end it. So let's go ahead. This is perfect. This is, as I feel, the perfect opening hand, and next like 10 cards or so stacked, to get him out and perfectly. We're going to assume no interactions with a 4-player game. So no counters, no board wipes. Everyone else just has real bad luck with their draws. So we go ahead, turn 1, we draw a card. I'm going to play Swamp. You guys all know what's coming. We're going to tap that into a Soul Ring, tap that into an Arcane Signet, tapping that into Blood Pet. So 1/1, but you can sacrifice Blood Pet to add 1 black to your mana pool. Now this actually isn't really going to play into the scenario very often, or at all. I just wanted, a card that I could play off of Arcane Signet for 1. And I thought it was going to be necessary because, the whole point of him being in here is to sacrifice him to get that 1 black mana necessary to tip you over and cast Toxrill. The way this is going to go, we're not going to really use him, but I think under the circumstances, he's kind of just like a good blocker, turn 1. You can kind of protect yourself a little bit because people are going to start swinging into you very fast and as hard as they can because they don't want you putting Toxrill on the field and destroying all of their creatures. But that is our turn 1. Now this setup does have a combo and an infinite combo. Now you'll see why it has to have both of them in a second. I guess it doesn't have to have both of them, honestly. You technically don't need this combo, you just need the infinite combo. But I also wanted to, this is optimal. This is absolute mayhem perfect. What can it do? So that's turn 1. We're going to go ahead and go to turn 2, untap, upkeep, draw. We will then play Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. This is the one piece of the trilogy to destroy everybody's board state. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other types. So that means everybody's. All your opponents now have swamps in addition to whatever those mana tap for normally. What we're going to do is we're going to go tap 1, 2, 3, and 4 to play Thran Dynamo. We're going to tap Thran Dynamo and Urborg to play the second piece of the puzzle, Cormus Bell. All swamps become 1/1 black creatures. The swamps still count as lands but cannot be tapped for mana the turn they come into play. What that means is now everybody, including myself, because Urborg says that they're all swamps are now 1/1. So everybody's lands, all the people, every player, however many lands they have, they're also 1/1 creatures. And now it slows them down because when they play a land, it's a creature, so it has summoning sickness, so they can't tap it for mana. So that's a good turn 2 to help slow it, buy us a little bit more time. They can start swinging with the other lands they have, which is probably what they'll start to do because they know what's coming. But what you're going to see is it's going to come a lot slower than people would think. So that is our turn 2. It's going to go ahead around the table again. They play some lands, they play some creatures, maybe, whatever, some artifacts. Comes back to us. Turn 3. We are now on turn 3. We are going to draw a card for turn, and we're going to play an island. Now, I could get Toxrill on the battlefield at turn 3. Right now, I have enough mana. I'm not going to, because I want to set up this other piece. What we're going to do is we are going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to play Thopter Assembly. It's a 5/5 flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters other than Thopter Assembly, return it to your hand and create 5 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens. Okay, that's cool. Little flying, a 5/5 flyer is always good, right? Good blocker and all that, but that's not really what he's there for, because we then tap a black and a blue to play the final card in our hand, Time Sieve. It is an artifact that's used, tap it, and sacrifice 5 artifacts, take an extra turn after this one. So now if you can probably see how the infinite combo is getting ready to go off. But that's all we can do. We're tapped out. Toxrill is still not on the field, and we are on turn 3. We are going to pass once again. Untap. Upkeep. Go, draw. Oops, this is on the field. Then, now, turn 4. This is the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 black to play. Well, first of all, I apologize. We missed an upkeep trigger. Upkeep, beginning of the upkeep. So before all of this, before we draw, upkeep trigger. This is the only thing we have, so we bounce this back to our hand, and we're going to make 5 1/1s. We'll just say there's 5 of them there. That's denoting that we have 5 1/1 Thopters. Now we draw for turn, and we tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to play Toxrill. Now the problem is we have 1, 2, and that's it. We have 2 mana open, 3 if we sacrifice that, and we do have a Dark Ritual, but I still couldn't figure out exactly how to get it to be 6 mana. I would like it to be 6 mana, because 1, 2, 3, use that 1 to play Dark Ritual, so that would be 3, 4, 5. The most I can get is 5 mana on this turn, which is not enough to recast Thopter Assembly, which is why it doesn't work quite right. But we do have the 5 1/1s for blocking, but we're not going to, which is part of the problem. Now we have Toxrill out, and now what happens is we move to our end step. Everyone's lands, except for ours, self-destruct, because they are all 1/1 lands, unless they have like a buff spell on their side or something that helps their creatures. But again, for argument's sake, we're going to go ahead and assume no one was able to get anything like that out. So we are on turn 4, so we can assume that each player had 4 lands out, which makes 12 slug tokens when they all their land all their lands blow up, and we get 12 slugs. And that's not going to count any theoretical small creatures they may have had out that were 1/1s, which would also blow up and give us more. So we'll just assume it's just the 12 lands. Now the good thing is, now no one has lands, and you would think that that's the game, right? Okay, no one has lands, they can't play lands, because as soon as they play it, on their end step, it gets destroyed. I get another slug. Game over. But that's not the case, because it's still enough. People can play a land, tap it into a Soul Ring, and then the land blows up, and then the next turn they play another land and tap that into Soul Ring to play a Thran Dynamo. So they can get mana on the field, maybe not colored mana that lasts more than a turn, but they can get the lands out, and they can go ahead and start casting things that are removal spells, or, you know, blow up Corvus spell, blow up, you know, if there's rarity, but some people might have land destruction, get rid of Urborg, then blow up Toxrill, whatever. So it's not like it's automatically the win. But now on turn 5, this is when I'm going to count it as the win. We go through, someone plays a land to try and play a Soul Ring, or no one plays a land because, we don't have anything just yet to destroy it, whatever. It comes back to us. It is turn 5. We untap. Upkeep. No upkeep triggers right now. We draw a card. It's a Rogue's Passage. We play it. And Rogue's Passage isn't important for anything. That was just what I put next in line. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to recast Thopter Assembly. Okay? Then we are going to sacrifice these 5 Thopters, tapping Time Sieve, so that we can take an extra turn next turn. And now what that does is that's going to start the infinite loop, because every upkeep, this is going to bounce back and make 5. Everything on taps makes 5. I have enough, as long as I have 6 mana open, I can always recast it. I sacrifice the 5, I take the other turn, meaning I can take infinite turns. If you've been watching this series, you know I just mentioned, or I will mention, who knows, which I've been filming a lot of episodes. The point is, I'm not a fan of infinite combos. I don't really like them. They feel cheap to me. I kind of respect the infinite combos that do immediate actual damage. You know, the ones where it's like, you gain a life, I lose a life, I lose a life, you gain a life, and that loop continues until everyone is dead. Or, you know, another kind of damage loop similar to that. Like, I can just keep tapping and untapping, doing 1 damage to everybody infinitely. Those, at least, will literally kill people on that turn. You're done. I'm not a fan of the ones where it's like, oh, I make infinite mana and I can play my whole deck until I find a way to win, which this is admittedly kind of one of those, honestly, it is, because I'm taking infinite turns. However, it's still the damage. Like, it's not just taking infinite turns until I figure out a way to kill everyone. I know how to kill everyone. It's Toxrill, it's commander damage. I can swing the slugs, but those are almost even irrelevant as well. Because here we are, turn 5. So, and we're going to have to be flexible on what we count as the turn 5 win. Because technically, Toxrill can't win until turn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Really, it can't win until turn 13. And here's why. We are on turn 5. I sacrificed the things, so we are going to get another turn. I move to combat. I swing Toxrill at the person directly in front of me. They have no blockers, hopefully, maybe because it went around the table a full time, so that would have been -4/-4 on 2 creatures. Hopefully, on turn 5, they don't have, a blocker. But you can see, like, okay, maybe someone got a 5/5 out. Cool, we tack someone else. It's but most of them are going to be wide open with no lands to play anything, even at flash speed or instant speed. So I swing. That's 7 commander damage. Move to my end step. Everyone gets another -1/-1. Maybe it blows something else up. Whatever. But I took an extra turn. Cool. I untap on turn 6. This bounces. It makes 5 more guys. This is all untapped. And I only need these. So I tap this. I take away the 5 that just got made. I get an extra turn. I tap that for 6 mana. I play the Thopter Assembly again. We move to combat. I swing again. Now we are at 14 commander damage on that person. Again, do it again. 21 damage, they're dead. Now diagonal. 1, 2, 3 hits, 21 damage, you're dead. 1, 2, 3 hits, 21 damage, you're dead. And there you have it. So if you're actually taking the turns, then it's 13. It wins on the 13th turn. But technically, on turn 5, I just have one massively long turn, essentially. I'm not going to get into this, the semantics, the details, well, technically you're not. It's fine. Then this wins on turn 13. That's the best they can do. Even if I'm swinging these 12, 1/1s at people that unblocked, that's still going to be like 3 turns to kill one person, 3 turns to kill that one. You know, okay, so 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10. 10, maybe on the 10th turn, it's the win. But I count it as a turn 5 win. But what do you think? Can you see any ways to use like Dark Ritual or Blood Pet or some other mana ramp spell that, a one-shot, something that does it, that can get this going faster? I just don't know. Let me know in the comments. Personally, I'm going to say that Toxrill can win on turn 5. Because once I hit turn 5, no one else gets a turn. So that's pretty much counts for me. But this is highly unlikely. You're never going to see a game where no one has the interactions to stop the pieces of this. You're never going to get it in this fast of an order. Although, to be fair, I have actually gotten Toxrill out on turn 3, not with this exact setup, but I just happened to have the right man. I had like a Soul Ring early, and then I think I did get a Thran Dynamo, and maybe the Blood Pet or something like that. I can't remember, but it was turn 3. I was so thrilled. Before my end step, my friend blew it up. Turn 3. Blew it up. And it's like, are you kidding me? So don't think that this can ever happen for real. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some ideas for your own decks. I hope you check out some of my other stuff. Maybe subscribe, maybe like, and I will see you next time.